Right, so we begin with this particular story that looking at the Labour Party, the internal wranglings within the Labour Party, and the former Commissioner for Information in Edo State, Kasima Febua, went ahead to talk about what exactly is happening in the Labour Party, with Peter Obi threatening to leave the Labour Party amidst the leadership tussle, and we get to hear just exactly what he
to
said.
preside over the country. But if you go through my article today, I try to situate the failure of Labour Party being unable to reconcile its own internal differences as that of the failure of the presidential candidate himself. You see, it is good for you to nurture an ambition. It's also good for you to ensure that the vehicle upon which that ambition is being pursued is intact and seen to be very organized to pursue your aspiration. But in the last 1 year, Labour Party has been undergoing some kind of ding-dong affair. They are unable to put their house in order. The candidate of the party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, is unable to, explore the resource of dialogue, of conversation, of interaction, and to reconcile all the issues within the party and package it into a brand that other future aspirants will want to latch onto. But I find it very disturbing that in Nigeria, people only pursue their ambition, not necessarily looking at the vehicle upon which that ambition is being pursued. And political parties are very important in terms of leadership recruitment, because that is the party upon which, a candidate who wants to be a governor, a senator, a House of Rep member, and even president will want to pursue an aspiration.
All right, he said he's disappointed, of course, that Peter Obi only wanted to use the Labour Party as a vehicle to get his ambitions. At this point in time, you get to wonder what exactly is happening within the Labour Party, and will they be able to come out of it?
The truth is, every political party with their own drama, and of course the Labour Party is no different, even though a lot of people felt they will be the messiah, just the way we saw the former president as the messiah during the 2015 election. But it's about time Nigerians come to understand that we don't need a messiah, neither do we have a messiah. All we need and we have and we ought to find in the country is a leader who has the interests of Nigeria at heart. The messiah will never come.
All right, in this message here, this other who said what message that we have here, the chief press secretary to the former Kaduna State Governor, Mukhtar Sirajo, he made a statement concerning the back and forth in Kaduna State between Governor Sani and El-Rufai. He said Governor Sani is giving the former governor El-Rufai a taste of his own medicine, that the former governor El-Rufai had abused all the governors that preceded him for plunging Kaduna into debt. Well, let's listen to what he had to say.
In the state, I consider the current state of affairs is applicable to all states of the country. The country is in dire straits, and Kaduna State is not an exception. But this brouhaha about date, I don't see any reason why people should be making a storm out of a teacup. I don't see anything wrong with the governor gathering the stakeholders to keep them up to date about his challenges, about what is going on in the state. I consider it as being proactive and a declaration of liabilities, if you like. In these challenging times, any governor who finds himself in this kind of dire straits, I think is better served by coming out clean with the people. The flip side to it is that this statement that the governor made about inheriting about 570 or somewhere around $1 million debt left behind by Nasiru was the same statement that opposition figures made in the countdown to the election, which earned them the wrath of the former governor, deprivations here and there, including revocation of titles of lands of even former governors by Malam Nasiru. So I wonder what he is going to do with Uba now that he has come out to say the same thing, the exact same thing that the opposition figures had complained of before he left office. Right. And come to think of it, I believe the former governor is being served a dose of his own medicine, because this was somebody who, before he became governor, had abused the hell out of all the governors that preceded him for plunging the state into a cesspool of debt. And to think that all the debt that he was complaining about, including putting a figure of the indebtedness of the state on each citizen of the state. By the time he came, the debt that he inherited was some, according to the debt office, some $93 million, which...
So Mr. El-Rufai is getting a taste of his own medicine at this point. That's what the chief press secretary of his former chief press secretary is saying at this point. Really interesting what is playing out in Kaduna State. Hopefully we get to hear more development as regards the debt situation in the state. And it's not just Kaduna State that is bedeviled with issues of loans and debts here and there. A couple of other states are facing the same issue as well. But it's how they navigate it that will matter, at the end of it all. Well, Wike is also in the news, and he made a statement concerning, there's been issues raised by different land developers concerning the fact that Wike keeps collecting their own lands back. And Wike had a lot to say about that. Let's take a listen.
Company A presented their own. Company B presented their own. Company C, Company D, Company E. I said, okay, I'm going to seek for advice from external solicitors. I'm not going to take from inside house, because the legal secretariat and land department have been so compromised. So I saw the views of very senior lawyers. Two of them wrote to be different opinions, but arriving at the same thing. First of all, what happened? This land, this so-called ethnic Jugoist talk about, was allocated when there was no minister. The minister left May 29th, 2023. By June, the land had been allocated. By Director of Lands.
No, but he said he got approvals from the former FCT minister.
If I tell you so many things, it is not as they, you see, these are the things they are clever by half. When we all met, it's okay. Company B, this, don't do anything again. Until
Well, Wike has talked about the fact that some of the individuals within the FCT, especially those that are, the director of land and all the other individuals, they've also been fingered in one way or the other for misappropriation of land and selling the land at very exorbitant prices. There's just a level of dishonesty going on in that place that he needs to weed out at this point in time. Real quick, there's a message here from the
30 seconds to go.
Pardon me. There was a conversation on Channels Television within the spokesperson, the police spokesperson Olumuyiwa Adejobi, concerning cross-dressing in Nigeria, and it's become a menace at this point. And so he was asked why they can't arrest cross-dressers, and this is what he had to say about that.
Question is about your friends who are cross-dressers, and I said,
fine, I'm not ruling out the fact that we have many of them. But if you, for instance, you want to prove a case of rape, rape has points to prove. If any one of those points is missing, you may lose your case in court. Let us be reasonable. You can't arrest somebody you want to prosecute without having credible evidence against such a person.
Cross-dressing is not a crime yet in Nigeria.
I don't think so, because I've not read anywhere it's an offense per se. But some of them that are into cross-dressing, the allegation is that they are into something else, unnatural offenses. That's where the problem lies. We need to actually have enough proof, credible evidence, to prove that they're actually into that. All those offenses are natural offenses in Nigeria, and they're punishable under our law.
So they must be careful how they
if it's explored that it's not a crime in Nigeria, fine, you want to do that, you want to enjoy your liberty. But if you're into something else that is criminal or natural offenses, many other people have been saying that, but let's have enough evidence to nail an individual is that dirty thing. The law will take its course.
All right.
Okay, so we've heard Muyiwa Adejobi make that particular statement. And the truth is, for those who have been making this remark in the past couple of days, because there have been this ongoing conversation about a man who was given the best dressed female at a particular event. And this has sparked outrage. So many people calling on the Nigerian police, even under the post on social media. I saw Olumiwa Adejobi's handle being tagged that CEO come and arrest this person. But you need to understand that the law works differently. Law doesn't know no emotions. It doesn't even care about your feeling. It doesn't even think about, how you think. The law is the law, and it's there. And whatever has been done by the Nigerian police has been dictated by the provision of some of the acts governing Nigeria and also the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And anything outside this doesn't even hold water anymore. So for you to prove a case against someone, to be whether you want to say the person is transgender, whatever, or whatever you want to call the person, on natural offenses, as Olumide clearly and rightly put it, it is not something that's easy for them to prove. And for them to even charge this person to court, they have to do a thorough investigation and also have concrete evidence to prove that this person is engaging in some form of unnatural act. Hence, the case will be thrown out of court with no evidence. And the police wouldn't want to be seen as an agency of government that just carry people and just take them to court with no evidence. They don't have any concrete evidence to prove that the person is engaging in any form of unnatural act.
All right, we will be joined by El-Rufai Saini in just a moment. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
It's thrilling, controversial, heated, thought-provoking. Catch Rufai Oseni.
Came here to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal.
Kesire Aqua.
Report was that $9 billion is lost yearly to illegal mining.
And Simeon Sunday.
If you know something of this nature is happening within your community, why didn't you raise an alarm?
On the Front Page Review, weekdays at 7:15 a.m. Now, you have a voice.
I don't understand the network this morning. We'll try to reconnect via another network. But power companies will be allowed to raise electricity prices to
about 200 naira, which is about 15 cents per kilowatt hour, from 68 naira for urban consumers this month. This is according to reports which was seen yesterday, Tuesday. And it was learned that the customers represent 15% of the population, that the government says consume 40% of the nation's electricity, the agency have now said. Looking at this, it was quoted, or people were quoted in the presidency with knowledge of the matter, saying this was in a bid to attract new investment and slash about $2.3 billion spent to cap tariffs, and that is the subsidies. Remember, it was said that about $2.3 billion was used in subsidizing power for Nigerians. And if this tariff has been removed, or the subsidy has been removed, it means Nigerians will not have to bear the brunt of paying fully for electricity tariff. Despite there have been increments in the past couple of months, in electricity tariff. I think it's in 2023, the tariff increased about 3 times, if I'm not mistaken, right now.
It did.
And we were anticipating this increment soon because the Adilabu, the Minister of Power, mentioned sometime in January that subsidy will be removed. But with this development, and of course some of the permutation being done by critics of the government, they're saying it might increase to about 300%. Is this not even worrisome for Nigerians at the moment? Which means
you have the lights that we are not seeing, or which one are we talking about? Because I don't know when last you slept and woke up with electricity, with power. It's been a long time coming, right? We've had this since the beginning of the year up until now, where we're having challenges with the electricity, and the Minister of Power has been promising and saying that things are going to get better. The other day he was in the news talking about the fact that the government is addressing the root cause of power, especially in the power sector, and you begin to wonder, what exactly is the root cause? What exactly is the root cause? Because you look at the discrepancies. The other day you were talking about buying electricity from IKEDC, and 5,000 naira, the same 5,000 naira worth of electricity was about 50 units, while the one you bought for Abuja AEDC was about 30 units. 32 or thereabouts. So you begin to wonder some of these discrepancies here and there that we're having, especially with the power sector. What exactly informs your decision to charge these people a certain amount of tariff, and then these other people another amount of tariff? Maybe the AEDC and different, and the Ministry of Power should come out and tell us exactly what's going on with the discrepancies within the power ministry. Good morning. Welcome back, rather.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Mr. El-Rufai. Can you hear us, Mr. El-Rufai?
Okay, I don't know what's wrong with the network, and we had a limited time to have this conversation with him, but we'll try and see if we can reach out to him or get through across to him. But if we cannot, we'll just have to go ahead with our conversation. And of course, we have Larry Ogoego standing by, our in-house analyst, will be joining us in the conversation this morning. Away from, the power sector, where there have been reports that we might see increment in the tariff. Let's move on to other stories making the rounds right now, and quickly let's touch on the Binance chief story. Remember, it was in news a couple of days ago that one of the Binance executive actually escaped from Nigerian government custody, even though till now I still find out very funny. But on the point this morning, it says federal government, Interpol, in talks over Binance chief's extradition. Okay, let's get back to Rufai.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Hello, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
So, right. Definitely was that.
Hello.
Really the effect on the people.
Okay, apologies for that. I think we just have to let him go. It's really sad that we really needed to hear his thoughts on some of the headlines this morning. But hopefully the network gets better, and hopefully, it gets to where we can get better reception. But let's get back to the story, talking about the federal government and the Binance chief extradition. According to the headline on the Punch, federal government, Interpol in talks over Binance chief's extradition. The federal government and the International Criminal Police Organization have commenced the process of extraditing Binance chief Nadeem Anjarwalla, who escaped from detention on the 22nd of March. Our security agencies had in February arrested Anjarwalla and Tigran Gambaryan, two executives of Binance, over alleged money laundering, and they were detained in a safe house in Abuja on the order of the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, and among other charges as well. Okay, he's back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Yeah. So as I was saying, I saw that coming because definitely cost-reflective tariff has always been an issue on the front burner. But all they just need to do is to look for a way that this will not hurt and hamper the people. How we can cushion the effect on the people, because you don't want to slam that kind of cost on people as we speak.
Okay, let's talk about Binance chief quickly before you go. I know you're out of time. Now we've seen the federal government and
I think the case is in court. I need to go now, guys. I think the case is in court, and let's see how the court proceedings go as regards the Binance chief. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Jesse, please check your message I sent to you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, apologies for that. We wish we had more time with him, but network wasn't too good this morning. Let's quickly go on a break. When we come back, we'll be reaching out to Larry Ogwegu, who will be joining on the conversation this morning. Hopefully, the network allows us to have a smooth conversation.
This is not just another radio on your dial. This is
Voice of the People, 96.1 FM, Abuja.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pickup and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Hey, neighbor, come. This one where you wear spaghetti top, leggings and koi shoe. Where you they go this morning?
My brother, I dey rush go VOP. Make Oga Caretaker help me advertise my business on top trading post. Make me sell follow blow.
Correct, neighbor. If you get house, land, motor or property where you want sell sharp to raise money, use Japa or to complete that your special project, bring and come trading post.
post. You dey sell restaurant, hotel, nightclub or beer parlor? You be mechanic, spare parts dealer, AC repairer, photo studio, school, church, importer or exporter? Bring and come Trading Post. Trading Post na the ogbonge marketplace on top radio where people dey buy and people dey sell. Dem a dey meet sharp. Trading Post dey sell every Monday to Friday from 15 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning. On top of Voice of the People 96.1 FM. To advertise your own business for small shikili money, make you call Oga Kiateka on top 0807 660 6162 or make you carry waka come with office. Wait there for number 4 Ogbomosho Street. Wait there for Garaki Area 8 Abuja. No dey for water soap enter your aisle. Trading Post, your sharp marketplace on top radio.
Happy Easter. This month of Easter, advertise with VOP 96.1 FM. Come on! Spend 100,000 naira on adverts and get 10 slots of jingles for free. So, call Sal on 0817 992 9729 for more information.
This is the Front Page Review right here on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. I am Simeon Sunday.
Welcome back. I am Gesere Agua. Of course, we're live on YouTube. Join us on YouTube, Voice of the People Abuja, Voice of the People Abuja. And then also you can join our WhatsApp platform.
0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. Remember, you can also send us a voice note as well on WhatsApp, and we'll definitely take it. Now let's get back to the headlines, talking about Interpol. But we will be reaching out to Larry Ogwego,
He's here.
Is here. Good morning to you, Mr. Larry.
Yeah, good morning. It's me on Sunday. Good morning, Casey. So
Morning.
how are we today?
We're good. We're very, very good. We're not happy because we're hearing electricity tariffs to rise by 300%. That's astronomical. 300%, not even 100 or 200. This is 300% because of the removal of electricity subsidy. And at this point in time, can Nigerians even deal with the increase of such magnitude?
I think the government should be a little more tactical about removal of subsidies. The argument is that if you don't remove subsidies, we won't get enough investment to have 24/7 power that we so desire. But the flip side is that it's difficult for people to understand why they should be paying so much for power when they have power. Some people don't even get to see light. Some people are complaining about, we don't get up to 12 hours a day, 6 hours a day. Some people don't see this light for one whole month in some locations. And it's very annoying for these guys and for most of us, really, when you're talking about increment and then there is no power. One would have expected that they will find a way to, first of all, see that there's reasonable improvement in the supply, and then the withdrawal of the so-called subsidy, which we don't know precisely how they do, because that's why people are usually upset about this whole kind of arrangement. They say we subsidize electricity. We need to see the numbers. We need to know how. We need to know to what extent. And we need to also ask questions about the pricing mechanism, and have they checked the effects of this removal of the electricity subsidy on the lives of the common man. I think we need to really look at how the government relates with the people and the needs of the people. We have to make that choice. Yes, we need investment to get power 24/7, but must we remove it in one fell swoop if we are going to remove subsidy? And is it 300% that we are looking at? Even if we are looking at 300%, do we have to do it in one fell swoop? It's really not particularly right to wake up on a good day and people are anticipating paying that much for power, especially when they don't get to see the power. I think the government should be a little more sensitive about this issue of removal of subsidy. If they know that it will improve power supply, then it should be done in such a way that people will be able to absorb the shock. You don't have to remove it in one day or even in 6 months. You can stagger it. And while you're doing that, you need to let us know what you're spending for the subsidy. You also need to let us know why you are even removing it. But one of the things I keep going back to is that while the government is very determined to remove subsidy concerning all the things that ordinary people consume, we are still heavily subsidizing the life of the elite politician. We have not really come to sit down to analyze the fact that the elite politician in Nigeria doesn't spend money on anything. Not only when he's not only when he's in office, but very often when he's out of office. If not for what the Imo's Abia State Governor Oti did, I wonder how states will survive by the time they have 5-6 ex-governors. So we live in a country where we are too quick to remove subsidies, for the things that ordinary people struggle to pay for. But we subsidize the lifestyle of our elite politicians who don't need any subsidy. They don't pay for anything. In the United States, even in the White House, the president has to pay for some of the things they use. I mean, the things you use personally, you pay for them because you're a president and you earn a salary, you earn income for being president. In Nigeria, they don't get to pay for anything for life. Once you step into a sorrow and come out, you don't pay for anything for life. Once you become a governor and come out, maybe unless you were governor of Abia State, and you don't have that privilege anymore. But the rest of the state waiting for you to follow suit meanwhile. But once you become a governor and come out, you don't pay for anything for life. You don't pay for your security. You don't pay for personal staff. You don't pay for anything at all. And that's not good enough that they subsidize the life of these guys who don't need subsidy to the tune of billions of dollars. And then they are too quick to find the small things that people are struggling to afford, and they remove the subsidy. It shows that our leaders do not care for the people, because even if they tell us that they need to remove the subsidy for us to have power, the way they go about it tells you that they don't really care about us, how we feel, how we suffer when they make decisions. It's when people start breaking warehouses and start maybe doing certain things that will shock them, that they now begin to explain what they did, and then probably begin to share palliatives and rice, where people will still go to die to collect palliatives. The cycle should think things through, that they should sit down and look at the social impact of the actions they take, not just the financial outcomes. You look at the financial outcomes, look at the social impact, and then you find a balance so that you don't just make money at the expense of the well-being of your people. These are things I'm expecting that a leader should think about. I mean, a parent thinks about how the children feel, the kind of suffering he may have to expose them to when he makes certain choices. You don't just decide that this is good for the family, but you don't think about how the family will feel about it. But let's wait and see how it works. It's shocking for a lot of people, but let's see how it works. Of course, this is one side of the story. We expect that some people will protest. I mean, when I say protest, not necessarily street protest, but we expect that organized labor will talk, some other persons and organizations will talk about it, and we hope there will be a change, at least from the 300. It should be reviewed downwards. So even if they must do 300 in the long run, it should be phased, not just one fell swoop.
Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about, you mentioned something why, during this interaction. And you said it was only when people start looting something that the government now re-strategize and find a way and start issuing or giving out palliative. And now it seems like we have seen this development in Ondo State, and it has been reported that Ondo residents loot truck conveying government palliative, and according to the reports, the grains that they looted had Tinubu's name branded on that particular grain in Ondo State. It has gone to show that the hardship is truly ravaging the country, and something ought to be done about hunger. But the truth is, there's no excuse for theft, because at the end of the day, this is theft. We can also call this vandalism of government-owned, product and produce. But this is sad, seeing this happen in Ondo State.
Well, it's sad that people have actually started maybe rationalizing stealing by saying, oh, we are hungry. That's what I think, because the ordinary Nigerian is not a thief. The ordinary Nigerian, it's not, we know what stealing means, taking that which does not belong to you with intent to convert to personal use. We are not like that normally. But you see, there's something we call rationalization. It's becoming fashionable now. If you notice, it's not just about maybe the hunger anymore. This is not the first time people were hungry in Nigeria. There was the SAP riots under the Ibrahim Babangida regime, and people didn't go to break grain warehouses. They were rioting on the streets, not breaking grain warehouses, because things were hard. So I think there is this atmosphere of looting in Nigeria, because while we condemn the looting by the people who go to steal rice in warehouses, you should also ask yourself, what brought them to this level? It is the same looting of the national treasury. I mean, we live in a nation where looting has been endorsed as a way of life, unfortunately so. And the people are beginning to say, maybe this is the only way to survive. It is criminal to loot, whether you're looting money from state coffers or to take back which doesn't belong to you. But the challenge we have now is that we don't even have leaders who have the moral courage, who can come to us and sermonize about why it is not good to steal. Because a thief cannot explain to another thief why he shouldn't steal. So we are in a conundrum here. Like me and you, we can talk about it, but we need to get to that point where we begin to not only provide solutions for the people, but we begin to explain to them that if you break a warehouse and you steal grains or whatever kind of food, that is stealing. And if the person is caught, the law will just take its full course. But then who will be talking about that in a country where it is the actions and inactions of the political leaders that brought us this way? I mean, that reduced us to that level where people have resorted to stealing rice. And then how can they talk about it when they know that if you want to call a spade, they brought us here. They just brought us down to this level. So it's the ordinary people like us who will also champion this conversation. Looting warehouses is not an option. It can actually aggravate a bad situation, because if I'm a businessman and I know that people may loot my warehouse of grains if they discover that I stored grains there, then it will create complications for the food distribution process, because people will even start hiding the grains. So the question is, how do we function as a country when we get to that level where you are even afraid to store your own grains legitimately acquired in your own warehouse? So if you're a farmer now and you have maybe 2,000 tons of rice, you are afraid to store your rice in your own warehouse for fear that people will go and break the warehouse. This is sad, and we need to find a way to get people to understand that no matter how hungry you are, it's not proper to go and steal food that it doesn't belong to you, whether it's in a government warehouse or personal warehouse. It's a moral issue. But unfortunately, because the political leaders are bankrupt, they are not well positioned to discuss these moral issues and talk about them. And I think also that the habit of giving out palliatives is part of what fuels this mentality of collecting free rice from warehouses, because we are focusing too much on palliatives rather than focusing on empowering people to go to the farm and then cultivate food. And then if we're empowering them to go to the farm, we have to start also talking about security when they go to the farm. But beyond what we call large-scale farming, one of the things we have forgotten is what we call subsistence farming. We have a lot of land, even within the cities. We have a lot of land all over the place that nobody is cultivating. So we are too focused on palliatives. And I will tell you one of the reasons why we're focused on palliatives for free. When governments acquire food that they will ostensibly distribute to poor people, they make money. That is the way Nigeria works. You know, that is, you find out that these guys are focused on opportunities to make money for themselves, illicit wealth. So it's not about what will solve our problems in the medium term. It's about how do we make money quickly. So people will carry proposals all over the place on different innovative ways to do palliatives. We shouldn't become a nation of beggars and palliatives. We should become a nation where people are empowered. Throughout COVID, Taiwan did not give anybody any palliative. They were just running their nation normally. When the COVID era was going on and things were bad, Germany didn't give anybody any palliative. These are countries that are resilient. That is where you don't just have people who are doing well. You have an economy that is resilient. So even in very dire times, people don't need palliative. I think that's what we should be aspiring to. And even if we're giving palliatives at this time, we should balance empowerment with palliatives. Palliatives should be temporary. Palliative is something people get in medical institutions when they are not expected to live. It's something that is supposed to just keep them going until they die. Palliative shouldn't be something we should all be dancing about, so that government is giving palliative. If they understand the concept of palliative, which came from medical practice, they shouldn't be too quick to give us economic palliatives. They should empower us and stop this idea of giving people the impression that they can collect free rice from palliatives and then they go to collect from people's warehouses. It is bad, and we have to stop that cycle.
Okay. Away from that, Nabena, that's Yekini Nabena, the former Deputy National Publicity Secretary to the APC, made a resounding comment, just recently, and this comment has elicited a lot of response from Nigerians and notable individuals as well. And according to the report on leadership, it says no opposition measure can unseat Tinubu in 2017. He also affirmed his unwavering belief that President Bola Tinubu's administration will not be derailed by any coalition efforts. Remember, sometime in January, there were calls from Pat Otomi, for a coalition for some notable individuals who took part in the 2023 election to set aside their personal ambition and form a coalition. This has been a call by a lot of Nigerians. And, they have been questioning if this coalition will even work in the first place or not. But Nabena is saying whether you form coalition or whether you don't form coalition or you cannot derail the ambition of President Tinubu in 2027. But it's really amazing how people are not even considering the fact that this administration is even yet to be 1 year old in power. But we're already talking about 2027 elections. Is this not troubling for us?
But it's a sign that we're not serious about leadership and governance. We just came out of an election. We have not started the business of governance. And almost every politician and every political leader is talking about 2027. They are obsessed with politics and power because of the financial benefits. So they don't really care about leadership and governance. One would have expected that after the election, you pack politics and then everybody will get into the business of governance. Everybody, including the opposition. So the parties that won the elections in different elections at different levels will provide leadership. And then the opposition parties will form shadow ministries, shadow governments. That is proper opposition. How? By providing constructive criticism and alternative.
Yeah, hello? Yeah, hello? Are you there? Oh, apologies for that. We'll try as much as possible to reconnect with Larry Ogwegu, as was lending his voice to the headline we saw in leadership that's talking about the statement from Nabena, who have said no opposition coalition or whatever they want to form will derail the president, especially as it goes to the 2027 election. In fact, APC, that was what he meant, being a mega party.
You know that some people they've seen prophecy on this particular situation. So, I mean, it seems to be set in stone already. But anyway, we're trying as much as we can to reach back with Larry Ogwego to join us for our conversation. But you have the opportunity to send us a message on YouTube at Voice of the People Abuja. Voice of the People Abuja. Send us a message on YouTube. And then also call our studio line 0700 010 961 961. That's also our WhatsApp platform 0700 010 961 961.
I guess you mentioned something that a lot of people are beginning to see things for the APC and of course for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu when it comes to 2027 election. In a statement which Nabena signed yesterday, which we cited as well, he alluded to the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and he said just as former President Muhammadu Buhari completed his 8-year tenure, he went on to say, I am confident that President Bola Tinubu, by the grace of God, will do the same, and not even the emergence of a mega party or merger will hinder this progress. So people are beginning to see things for President Bola Tinubu. The question is, will he want to go for a second term?
That's not even a conversation, Simeon, because almost every politician would want a second term. Almost every politician would want that. I mean, but for Nigerians, the question is, are you doing well in your administration? Did your administration do well to warrant a second term? Right? Because we know that at this point in time, it's difficult to get a particular government out of office, especially if you're not doing well. It's hard to impeach and all that. We know that it's difficult. So let's say you run your full course of the 4 years, but at the end of that term, how did you fare? Does it warrant a second term? Do Nigerians want another 4 years with you at the helm of affairs? At this point in time, I think politicians, they should focus on how well they are doing, because Nigeria and politics has moved beyond, the world has moved beyond playing politics for politics' sake. The world has moved beyond that. The world is looking for, if you check across African countries, they're looking for leaders who can actually deliver. That's why we saw a lot of the issues that we've seen in the African continent in the past few months. A lot of Nigerians, a lot of Africans are looking for leaders who can actually lead the country out of the quagmire that they're in into better waters, or into still waters at this point in time. Anyway, we've got Larry Ogwego back on the line.
Mr. Larry, welcome. Good morning. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, I was trying to say that politics and power should be for the purpose of governance, for delivering a good life to the people. But in Nigeria, politics and power is basically about the ego and the interests of the political elites. And that is why once they finish one cycle, they begin to plan for the next cycle without providing both governance and leadership. And that is sad. And this is a lesson for the electorate and for the civil society. We need to actually check who is doing what. I mean, whether you are in opposition, whether you won the election or lost the election, we need to actually observe the politicians who come back only for power. I have friends who contest for positions in politics, and I've always advised them, you cannot be a professional contestant, so you come into the public space only when the election is imminent, and then you fade away and disappear when you lose the election.
Mr. Larry, if you want to call names, please call names. One aspirant just came back from Dubai for the party's neck. So if you want to call names, please call names with your full chest.
I'm not afraid of calling names. I just actually used an example of my personal friends, because I advise them. That is, I advise my friends, everybody I know. For me, one of the little steps I use when I'm discussing politics and politicians is I ask questions like, what have you done for your people before now? And a lot of contestants and political gladiators come to meet me for endorsement of some kind of political support in my public outings. And I ask them a simple question. And that's the question I ask every single politician, whether they're contesting for House of Representatives, House of Assembly, or governor, whatever. I ask the same simple question. If you're going to spend 500 million naira or 2 billion naira, depending on what position you're contesting for, to become a leader, why do you want to do that? The answer is always the same. I want to improve the lot of my people. Then I ask the next very important question to me personally. If you are willing to gamble with 2 billion so that you get into a position to improve the lives of the people, have you actually invested any reasonable amount in improving their lives before now? because that is evidence I personally have that you're passionate and interested in empowering your people. I mean, if you're going to use 500 million to place billboards, use this million to settle, use this one to buy palliatives or recharge cards or gifts or whatever, and you have not been able to sit down to bless your people before now, how do I know that you're not doing business? I mean, if you're willing to waste 2 billion and you have not been able to invest 500 million, then something is, when the next cycle comes. I have a friend who lost the last election time. He traveled abroad with his family, and I'm sure he's likely to come back to contest again. Personally, I don't take such persons seriously because I can assume that the person doesn't mean well, no matter what the person says, because if you want to be a blessing to the people, you should subconsciously be looking for how to bless them, whether you're in power or out of power. If you have that much resources, you can be a blessing. You don't need money to be a blessing. I've been a blessing to the people around me everywhere I go, just by giving sound advice, by mentoring young people, by doing your bit. You can be a blessing. But a situation where you wait for the next election, that is immediately after elections, we are not 1 year in this administration, people are spending so much energy on 2027. I'm embarrassed. I mean, the world is watching us. I'm really embarrassed.
Okay.
Even if they are going to talk about coalitions, they should do it quietly. This is not the time to make noise about coalitions. This is the time to focus on governance, to critique government decisions, to provide alternative solutions, and even to contribute to the process of reducing hunger and unemployment in the land. This is not the time to be jostling for 2027 that is not even here.
Okay. With what you said, even though you said you were alluding to your friends who are in politics who come in once it's electioneering season, but this might not be the case for Atiku Abubakar. We are not in the electioneering season, but he's back in the country. According to his spokesperson, Paul Ibe, he said Atiku returns to Nigeria ahead of PDP's neck. And Paul Ibe said, confirmed the development that truly Atiku is back in the country and he is obligated to attend PDP's neck meeting as a member, a stakeholder, and also a member of the caucus. So should we say Daddy Oyoyo to Atiku Abubakar since he's back?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part of what you said.
Should we be singing Daddy Oyoyo for Atiku Abubakar? That was something we used to sing back then when our
yes, I remember. Some people will be singing Daddy Oyoyo. Atiku has been a permanent feature in our political landscape for those who know since the 90s, actually.
Very true.
Since the 90s. And some people are complaining about the fact that he doesn't want to quit. But the truth of the matter is that I keep saying these things openly. He has a right to contest for as long as he wants to. It is the electorate that will decide, the party platforms and the electorate that will decide what happens. And it's also his personal prerogative to decide that I don't want to do this anymore. Sometimes we don't even realize that may be what is keeping him healthy and alive and busy. It may be something he's pursuing, and if he's pursuing something passionately, then it helps him maybe find meaning to live. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying that we need to understand that there are different reasons for people to pursue their passion. Having said that, I will digress a little and talk about the fact that Atiku Abubakar thinks we should take a cue from what happened in Senegal and create a coalition that will make the difference. That's probably what is also stoking all of this coalition fire and the 2027 issue that we are presently experiencing. I also think it's a good idea, but I just want to remind us that when people promote coalitions for personal benefit, the coalition will not work. A coalition works when a Sonko is willing to front a fight to go and win the election if there's an obstacle in his path. A coalition works when the participants are not focused on their own interests, but focused on common interests. So all of us are coming together to bring out the best candidates to go and fix our country, not even to go and win the election. And when people see that A-team and they see that sincerity of purpose, they are likely to line up queue behind these patriots. That's what happened in Senegal. But a situation where we promote coalitions for the purpose of benefiting from the coalition, it's very difficult for that kind of coalition to work, because when it comes to who will now go for us, you find out that nobody will be willing to step down for the other person. Remember the continuous bickering between MPP and the Labour Party. That's about Kwankwaso and P2B possible merger. Everybody was promoting his own candidate on why his candidate should be the flag bearer and the other person the deputy, and it never came to pass. So I think we need to also understand that while Daddy Atiku also reminds us that we can use coalition to change the political landscape, I'm also advising the political players to learn how to build a consensus that is not selfish, a consensus that will be for the benefit of the people. If they can do that, then maybe we'll finally have the credible alternatives. I'm not talking about pushing out anybody, pushing in anybody. You'll be surprised that if this government actually performs well, and I've been asking our president to disappoint us meaning disappoint the naysayers, disappoint those who said he's too old, those who said he's not capable, those who said disappoint them, perform superlatively. If we get to that point in Nigeria where there is power, where we have good growth, we have schools that function, we don't go on strike, and most importantly, I can go to any part of Nigeria if I like on foot, how old the president is. Those things are academic. I care about the quality of life that the president gives the citizens. That's what I'm interested in. So I hope that the naysayers will be disappointed. I hope so sincerely as a Nigeria, because I'm not interested in all this bickering. I'm interested in the good life. So if Mr. President can disappoint the naysayers, then he can take the 2027. I don't really give a hoot about who is there, as long as the person gives us good governance. But if he doesn't disappoint the naysayers, if he's a failure up to 2026 and he's thinking about 2027, he may not have to contend with the coalition of political parties. He may have to contend with the coalition of the ordinary people.
Okay.
And that may be difficult to defeat.
All right. Let's move on to our final story for the day. In Ondo State, doctors have begun a strike over 7-month salary arrears. We're seeing strike rearing its ugly head once again. The Association of Resident Doctors within the University of Medical Sciences Teaching Hospital, Ondo State, they've commenced a 14-day warning strike over non-payment of 7 months' salaries to their new members. Well, we keep seeing this rear its ugly head. Time with different governments, we've seen situations where doctors are, they're upset about monies not being paid, whether it's salaries that are being owed, whether it's hazard allowances, whatever the case. But we keep seeing situations where there's bad faith on the part of the government, right? We don't see them reporting issues of non-payment of salaries to themselves as government workers. We don't see them reporting issues of, we don't see the lawmakers reporting issues of late salaries. We don't see any of that happen. But when it comes to individuals who do their best, put lives on the line, we always see that happen with different administrations. Is there a way that we can just let go of this? Is there a way?
I think we need to get to that point where we insist that if anybody is not going to be paid because of lack of funds, everybody shouldn't be paid until we have funds. I think that's what we should do. That's the governor, the legislators, the commissioners. If anybody is not going to be paid because we don't have money, then nobody should be paid because we don't have money. A situation where we pay politicians who don't do anything, SAs who don't have offices, who don't have any job description, who don't contribute to anything, have their money drop on a certain day, charge directly to the doctors, the people who do the real work. They are not paid because we claim there's no money, but there's enough money to put petrol in cars of politicians, and when they are holding meetings, the cars will be steaming so that the AC will be working. And then you tell us there's no money. We need to get to that point, and this is not a joke for me. We need to get to that point where labor will stop going on strike just to say, oh, pay us. They need to begin to say, what is good for the politician is also good for the professional. That we must be paid alongside the politicians. But if they can't pay us, let everybody wait. Governor and all, let all of us wait. So when there's money, we pay everybody. They can't tell us to be patient when they are impatient with their own payment. It shouldn't work like that. I'm waiting for that time when our organized labor and everybody else will stop talking about salary. We're obsessed with salary. We should talk about other things. And I've been saying it for decades. I mean, we can't be talking about how much they're paying us and when they pay us and the fact that they owe us. When they always pay themselves, pay fat salaries and allowances. We need to wake up one day and say, see, we are going to stop work so that we will address this matter. We're going to picket the House of Assembly. So they will give us a law that will place everybody on equal pedestal when it comes to payment of salaries. We need to have that conversation. As long as we don't have it, the politicians put themselves in a class, pay all the money, and then steal more. And then they leave the civil servants to struggle, and they don't even pay them, yet they expect them to work. I think we need to get to that point where we legislate on it and find a way to compel the political leaders to put everybody on the same pedestal. If they pay themselves on 25th, they should pay everybody. But if there's no money, everybody should wait. We need to get to that point.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I hope that they are listening. All of those politicians and the people also. I hope they are listening to the voice of the people. It's very important that they do.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Okay, that has been, the front page review right here on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. I see a couple of comments on YouTube